All right. Good morning, everyone. And thanks for joining TBV Demo Day 13. Cannot believe it's already the 13th edition now we've done over the last year. And we have a great set of judging VCs, attending the VCs today, and then the six companies that will be pitching today from all over the world. I think we're covering almost every major time zone. So appreciate a lot of you guys joining, especially in Europe. I know it is very early. And so today, Sky, if you can go to the next, or sorry, Flo, if you can go to the next slide. Um, would like to introduce a lot of the judging VCs that we have today. They can give a brief intro on them themselves. Then I'll go over the kind of overview of the amount of time that every company has to pitch and the Q&A for the next hour that we'll be spending together. And before I even dig in on the judging VC part as well, for anyone here that's going to Consensus Miami, we'll be hosting events at a massive villa during the week and the official opening night for Consensus Miami on May 5th. So if you guys are in Miami, please hit us up. Happy to get your tickets to our events. And then also in the Zoom chat here, if you are a company that is not pitching today, you're welcome to drop your company blurb and network with other VCs here during our demo day. So let's get started. The first judging VC we have today is Alina from Funders. Alina, thanks for joining. If you could do a brief intro on yourself to the community, that would be great.
First of all, thank you guys for having me today. Hi, everyone. Good morning or good evening, anytime you're in. Yeah, I'm Alina from Funders VC. Quickly, Funders VC is a hybrid venture fund. We do invest in fintech and crypto startups, both on private stage and a liquid stage. We provide liquidity to DeFi protocols. So happy to be here and really excited to hear all the pitches. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Alina. And next up is Peng from NGC. Thanks for joining us, Peng.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. So just a quick one. I'm from NGC Ventures. So we are based here in Singapore. And I guess we've been around for a while, right? So I would say we are a pretty generalist VC where we only do invest in the crypto space. But over the years, I guess we focus more on the infrastructure side of things. But for me personally, I look a bit more on the DeFi side of things as well as the privacy side of things over here at NGC. So yeah, looking forward to hearing from everyone later.
Awesome, man. And yeah, good morning to you in Singapore. And next up, we have Abdul from Decasonic. And Abdul is also a judge in our first live demo day this year in East Denver. So good to see you, man.
Brent, good to see you again. Thanks for hosting as always with the TBV events that you guys have. Appreciate all the founders for your time in advance as well. I lead Decasonic's Web3, AI, and intersection investments. We deploy out of our 1 to 2 million check sizes, 50 million AUM vehicle fund, actively deploying capital both in terms of leading or co-leading opportunities. Looking forward to the event.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We also have Clement from IVC Ventures. Clement, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. So IVC, we're a Web3 VC coming out from Japan. We invest into a little bit of everything in Web3, but we also run one of the bigger startup and VC conference in Japan, IVS, Infinity Venture Summit, every year in Japan as well. But yeah, thank you.
Awesome, man. Hopefully you and Toby get to link up in Japan as well. I know he's been there for a bit.
For sure.
Um, yeah, and then the last two we have Vikram from Hashed. Vikram, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Brent and team, for having me here. So, hi guys. So, we are Hashed Emergent and we are part of a broader Hashed group. So, we are very sector agnostic. We write check sizes from 200K to $2 million. And again, we are a part, as I said, we are part of a broader Hash group. So, we are looking for much more opportunities across all the regions. Yeah. So, nice to be here. Looking forward for the pitches.
Definitely, man. Thanks for joining. And last but definitely not least, one of our investors as well, and a good friend, Max from Plug and Play. Thanks for joining, man.
Hey everyone, great to be here. My name is Max Jungreis. I'm the head of crypto and digital assets at Plug and Play. I sit in Silicon Valley at our global HQ. Plug and Play is one of the most active early stage VCs globally. We make about 250 to 300 investments per year in the pre-seed, seed, and Series A stage. And then additionally, we also have a big corporate innovation practice with about 600 global brands such as Walmart, Procter and Gamble, Nike, Visa, who essentially look to us to source early stage technology startups across about 25 industry verticals. And then hopefully we can implement those internally. And so within the digital asset space, it's very Web 2.5, very infrastructure heavy, working with a lot of the players in the financial services space. So yeah, excited to be here and see the startups present today.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, and I'll be seeing you in a few weeks when I come back to the US. So that is the wrap up for the Judging VCs today. And Flo, if you can go to the next slide for just the overview. So we'll have six companies pitching today. There will be 2-minute pitches, and as you guys know, I'm infamous for cutting companies off if they go over the 2 minutes because we run a tight ship here. So just keep that in mind for every founder pitching, and then we'll leave up to 5 minutes for Q&A for each company. So that's how we'll move through quickly to have all six companies present, get good feedback, and hopefully make this the best demo day yet for TBV Demo Day 13. So let's get started. Flo, if you can remove your screen. And then first up, we'll have Farouk, the founder of Myriad Markets.
Hi, my name is Farouk Sarmat. I'm the president and co-founder of Dastan, which is the parent company of Rug Radio, Decrypt Media, and Myriad Markets, which I am here to pitch y'all with my co-founder and CEO, Loxy, who's also here. He'll be partaking in the Q&A part of this. Who we are, like I just said, we're the team behind Decrypt Media and Rug Radio. You've probably read Decrypt Media if you've been in crypto for a little bit, or even not, because our articles are aggregated across Bloomberg, Coinbase, Robinhood, etc. We do about 100 million visits a year from 40 million uniques yearly. It's a 7-year-old media company. We've built one of the largest distribution networks and media companies in the industry so far. Rug Radio is the creator arm of it, which is one of the largest creator networks in crypto as well, with creators, including myself, that have conducted some pretty high interviews, such as with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, Tom Lee, the head of the CFTC, yada, yada, yada. So on the media side, we're quite large, which leads me to my next point. One, Myriad, you probably get pitched or have invested in a bunch of different prediction markets thus far. It is quite a hot asset class, I would say. First and foremost, for our integration capabilities, Myriad is integrated into Decrypt Media. So you read the news and then you're able to kind of make the news on top of breaking the news and to predict directly on our platform. So we're integration first. We're the first prediction market that have ever integrated with a Web3 wallet. We did that before Polymarket and MetaMask. So we're integrated with Trust Wallet. We do actually more volume on our Trust Wallet markets with Myriad that Polymarket was doing with MetaMask for the longest time, and with other partners. We're crypto native, crypto first. Of course, we've been in the trenches for a long time now, myself and my co-founders, but also our team who has been building prediction markets since 2021. And then, of course, our distribution network, which is unmatched. I was telling you some of the higher end, interviews that we've conducted. We're one of the only media companies in crypto with a White House press pass. So there's a little video.
All right, and that was 2 minutes. It goes very, very fast. Alrighty, let's get feedback from some of the judges. Maybe Max, if you want to start.
Sure. So I guess, we've seen obviously a lot of things within the prediction market landscape. We've seen, the largest prediction markets, Kalshi and Polymarket, make investments all across the board into media, into distribution layer applications, into financial service products, wallets, etc. How do you I guess feel like, those guys with an unlimited war chest, like what's the specific beachhead or like this niche target demographic that you're going after where you feel like you might have the inside track versus I guess those guys acquiring the same user base?
Yeah, I mean, we Loxley here, CEO and co-founder of Myriad and Dastan. We historically have one of the highest discretionary income, disposable net income user bases that are crypto native user bases. Historically, we've seen Kalshi and Polymarket both spend extensive amounts of money. To date, having done $500 million, $500 million in transactional volume, we've spent $0 on marketing. We own the native distribution rails, and the way that we're built is to convert users who are already in the behavioral patterns of participating in high risk asset classes, high frequency trading and turnover. And that's how to date about 400,000 users on platform, 30,000 of them actively trading within our prediction vertical here. And again, just owning that audience natively and having 7 years of distribution, the entire news media to transaction feedback cycle becomes a virtuous cycle. And we've had multiple instances already of the large incumbents attempting or pitching us to convert our audiences to their user base. And so really like that's largely the moat is having ownership already and distribution within one of the most valuable user bases that exists, and the expansion going forward from there.
And that will add that the
Great.
user is not loyal to a certain brand, Max. So like whether it's trading on Polymarket or Kalshi, the user never really, especially in crypto, has very limited loyalty. And so basically, there's also the other aspect to trading is the agents, right? The agent will not even be seeing. First of all, the user is not loyal. Second of all, the agent's even less loyal. Like he's going to be seeing whether it's trading on Polymarket or Kalshi. And so if we're offering similar rails, we're aggregating. The aggregators are also aggregating myriad markets. We actually just launched yesterday on Chance, which is like one of the most funded poly market apps out there, but they're also integrating us. For example, it's an aggregator of prediction markets. They're never going to see where they're trading. So if you're offering similar liquidity, depth, volume, user base, faster execution, better fees, rewards to these makers, then the maker is not going to see a brand necessarily.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Max. And then maybe you can get feedback from either Abdul or Vikram, or sorry, actually, Alina, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I decided to just raise my hand. And I wanted to kind of follow up on Max's question, talking about user base. What I see a lot now within prediction market space, when people pitching us prediction markets to stand out, they usually try to kind of cover, really specific market, right? Poly market is kind of US, everything about US. Then there are several Asian focused prediction market. Do you guys have something like that? Or you really just want to take the user base from Decrypt and kind of onboard it here and see what they like, what the flow here?
Yeah, that's the lowest hanging fruit. The biggest advantage that we have had so far is really underserved markets like the Global South. We have a partnership with Opera Browser, and that's in conjunction with Cello and their MiniPay app, where we are offering in their newsfeed event contracts directly integrated. And again, that's hundreds of millions of users using the Opera Browser primarily in the Global South, South America, and Africa. A big concern for us is we believe that the rest of the world markets outside of North America, where Kalshi and Polymarket are really fighting for that audience, they're largely underserved, and really with our on-chain, low cost resolution on BNB chain, we have the ability to offer smaller microtransactions at high frequency. And so we've really leaned into not just the long tail political markets, but crypto price, equities, metals, oil price, and running these markets in also like high frequency, like the 0 day to expiry markets, and giving that high turnover, market capability to the rest of the world markets.
Okay, thank you.
Uh, So you mentioned about distribution via media and Trust Wallet also, but I believe that will only bring users because we have been seeing a few prediction markets and emerging market also. So they have been targeting a lot of African, Indian, and Bangladeshi population. They partner with a lot of such platforms and then they get those users. But what we see was a lot of users churning in. And second, it never translates to liquidity in a longer run. So like, how do you make sure that the traffic that comes to you via this GTM activations would actually lead to some liquidity?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us right now is attracting liquidity through one, commercialization of these partnerships with liquidity, not just the retail user liquidity, but relationships with institutional liquidity. So we've kind of tiered liquidity. You have institutional liquidity from professional market makers, algorithmic traders, and power users that are providing liquidity, and then creating an incentive layer for LPs. And that's really where, aside from resolution on chain, transacting resolution on chain, the idea down the line of being able to create loyalty and rewards programs, which gives portions of our revenue generation and our fees back to users through a token ecosystem. That's the real key, right? Is creating long-term alignment and incentives. And so, the raise that we are in the middle of now is for a safe, but also a token warrant. There will be a tokenized ecosystem in the future that governs the data, the data layer in the data ecosystem, but also acts as a reward mechanism to incentivize long-term alignment and participation. And I think that's really it. Like we're in this age where you can't just expect users to come and utilize a platform. They want to have ownership and really like that extreme ownership in a platform. And so giving people the opportunity to have either equity or tokenized exposure to the growth and the traction really contributes to the network effect. And that's one of the
Okay, sorry, Loxley, to mute you, but we went a little bit over. I wanted to try to get as much of the last question answered. Alrighty, thank you guys for presenting. Next up, we'll have Toby from Reserve BTC. Toby, if you can share your screen, please.
Yeah, hi. I'm Toby from Reserve. We're the Bitcoin lending company, and we help people put their Bitcoin to work. We're a team of Bitcoin native OGs doing work significantly on-chain and off-chain as well, both in software to mining. We've got a team of very strong advisors across the industry. At the same time, the Bitcoin lending market, I guess, has been plagued by rehypothecation. There's obviously the likes of Celsius, BlockFi, Genesis, all of which have collapsed, and this rehypothecation is still abundant. Fees are massively overpriced generally in the industry and could go up as high as 18%. The market's largely US centric, with about 90% taking place in the US, and we think there's a supply gap in the sort of $1 to $30 million range. At the same time, we're coming out with the lowest rate, most transparent Bitcoin-backed loan in the market, and we're one of only a few platforms that does not rehypothecate. We're scaling out, targeting whales. We've got a 200 Bitcoin loan book lined up for day one at launch. We've got B2B2B partnerships lined up with active talks ongoing with Kraken and BitGo. We've got the former head of debt at a top 3 exchange ready to join us as we look to institutionalize. We're going for a beachhead initially in the UK market, which is there's no regulated UK player active in the market. There's 8% UK of adults holding crypto at the same time, and 70% there. But we think that provides a significant moat.
Awesome. And time. Thank you, Toby. All right, so let's get some feedback. Maybe start with Abdul. Any questions for Toby?
Yeah, Toby, good to be able to talk with you again. Has been probably more than a year since we've last spoken, and obviously Ordinals Bot is a good name to be familiar with. How are you thinking about monetization, considering that we didn't cross that threshold through the pitch that we just had?
Yeah, so we're effectively what we're targeting is a 9% rate for borrowers and a 6% lender rate, and then we're effectively capturing a 1.5% spread, 1.5% origination. At the same time, the stronger our balance sheet can get, obviously, the more of the 9% spread we can capture. But our view is it's really a land grab for loan book growth because this is an expanding market. And so effectively, of the sort of 2 trillion and rising of Bitcoin in the market, you want to be able to put that to work significantly. So the key is getting as big a loan book as possible, basically.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Toby.
Thanks, Abdul. Maybe from the NGC side or Clement, any questions or feedback for Toby?
Yeah, yeah, from NGC here. So maybe just a quick one. Earlier in the pitch, I might have misheard, but it seems that you were trying to target more on the retail side of things instead of sort of the usual BDC whales or institutions, right? So do you foresee sort of getting enough demand to sort of build out your balance sheet, as you mentioned, through this sort of retail route?
Well, firstly, like our initial customers will be above 250K, so we're very much going after whales and institutions. We don't think that we basically think the retail side of things is much smaller. Like in concept, we're definitely thinking it's more a kind of Revolut for Bitcoin-like experience, because we just think that users will want as good an understanding of our loans, but it's very much more providing a white glove service to the 250K to $10 million loan book kind of people. And that's where basically we think a lot of the exchanges have gone to 20 million plus clients in large part. And so there's a sweet spot in the sort of 1 to 10 million range, especially for loans, basically.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Peng. And Alina or Vikram, any questions or thoughts for Toby?
Yeah, I have a quick question for Toby. So Toby, what happens operationally in a situation where, suddenly there is a lot of Bitcoin drawdown and we will see a lot of, liquidity issues and further cascading issues. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, so effectively, firstly, we're aiming to protect people's sats as much as possible. So, but obviously, when loans are unhealthy, there may need to be a degree of liquidation. So, where we go to effectively is once people get to roughly 80% LTV, their loans are at risk of being liquidated. And typically we're liquidating back to the 50% LTV range. So basically delevering people. So our view is it's very hard for that sort of 20% drawdown in a day. So the actual, like the business model of Bitcoin lending, actually in some ways liquidations tend to be more profitable, but obviously very that's a short-term profit. So you don't want to be gaining from liquidations as a lender. You want to be growing and servicing customers and really helping them protect their sats. But obviously if people allow prolonged loan health to deteriorate, then we need to work from that. And also, I should add, I didn't get to it in the presentation, but we're raising 2 at 15 million pre, so in a safe, which is closing at the moment.
Awesome. Thanks, Vikram. And then maybe lastly, if Clement or Max or Alina want to chip in any last question, otherwise we can go to the next company.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick one. So I think you mentioned that there's no UK regulated competitors at the moment. I'm just wondering, can you share a little bit on the licensing progress or timeline on your side? Yeah, as well.
Yeah, so we've been joined by the former general counsel of Polkadot. So she used to run the Tony Blair Foundation as well. She set up a FCA regulatory practice. We're in active touch with the FCA and working with our lawyers, Brown Rudnick. And the view of our legal firm is effectively, and Chrissy, who's our in-house counsel, is effectively that we can do deals at the loan level, but the FCA is currently sort of doing a new phase. So our goal is to be one of the few that are able to be compliant in that time frame. So that's kind of where we sit. We think that provides a significant moat, and obviously once that's conquered, you can also read across to like the Eurozone MICA region. And we think that a lot of, and we're already in very active talks with some of the major Bitcoin lenders in the US who just really can't be bothered actually to like go into the market. So we can effectively be grow market share massively with bigger balance sheets alongside us.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Clement. Thanks, Toby. We'll now go to Nick from OWB Studios. Nick, you're up.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Nick. I'm founder of OWB Studio. I have a live product. It's live since 5th of December 2024. We have a live product that evolving, and the next step of our evolution is expanding and creating the new category. It's agentic gaming. So basically, we have a lot of people who are trying to use the AI in the daily life. Some of them using just as Google, some of them set up in agents. And it's not only regular people, but some professionals, some of them just gamers. And it's a massive audience. And the problem with every audience is to onboard them into the technology. And historically speaking, the games is the best form of onboarding for anything. So people want to use the technologies all the time. They want to be ahead of the time, or at least they want to be in the present. They want to use the best that we can do in terms of technology. And they usually don't have an ability and time to learn how to use it. So usually everyone wants just to use something that is ready and easy to use without no brain in the process, So it's the same thing with me. I'm in the game industry for 12 years, and I set up the agent orchestration for myself. And that's a power trip, when you controlling the agents, you managing them, and that's the feeling that when you get it, you never want to get back. You just want to use an agent and get a result. And this is exactly the power trip and the feeling that I want to provide for the players and for the new people, because it's basically you in the command, your manager, and they like a bees in your hive, they doing what you need. And this is exactly the feeling that I want people to feel when they play the new.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. That was the 2 minutes. And no, it's very, very early for you over there. So thanks for staying up. Let's go to the judging panel. Maybe any feedback from Max or Alina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Alina, you can go. I was
Yeah.
gonna say I don't do any gaming, so I'm gonna hand it off to Alina.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm a gamer either, but my question, when I see gaming slash AI or like AI agent that will play for you or help you, isn't this killing the like the fun, the essential of the gaming experience, or just for me as non-gamer? Yeah, this kind of my feedback. And another just a follow-up question. I really want you to cover your prediction. I see currently in your like short blurb that Flo, and thank you, Flo, for sharing it with us in the group chat. You have a prediction for having 1 million daily active user for B2B GameI platform. Yeah, can you also tell us more about how you're going to achieve that? So basically 2 questions.
Yeah. So the first thing first, it really depends. If it's fun to control anything, you're doing this. Like, just imagine the city skylines. You're not building the building itself. You're just building the roads and the buildings, building in the areas that you choose for type of the buildings, and game doing this for you automatically. So we cut the micromanagement, and you're doing the strategy. That's the fun, because you're telling someone like, okay, do that, and you expect that he's gonna do that. But usually things not go how you want, and you need to figure out how to make the process happen as you want with your intent. You need to figure out how to control these entities to do exactly what you want, because they have brain on itself. So it's fun not like directly playing the game, but it's fun controlling your team and actually be an effective commander. You're like an army general. This is just a different fun. It doesn't mean that the only thing that we're going to provide, but this is the start for us. And it's a war at a scale. Imagine it's over 100 people on the planet. They doing the same thing. They fighting, and they not just the gear in the process. They are commanders. They feeling themselves bigger. The impact is bigger. The every decision is bigger for them. So it's higher stakes. It's more adrenaline in the process. That's a big difference. And we just cut the micromanagement. And with the numbers, right now we have over 35,000 daily active users. So our goal, and when we have like 500,000 registered players, so our goal for next 2 years, grow like 10, 50 times bigger. It's really depend, but according to the prediction, it's going to be 300,000 daily active users in the start of 2027. And why? It's real for us because we have the lifetime of the players over 200 days, which is 5 times bigger than industry average. This means we retain and sustain players amazing. It just, we don't need to do promo every day. We need to do promo once per year because people stay in the game and they play. This is our massive advancement. That's why we can grow very fast and be sustainable for a long period of time.
And are those gamers like crypto guys or they
Mix.
just gamers?
30% is usual casual players and 70% is like crypto digits. So we very attractive for both audience, and that's why we're also doing the gender gaming, because it's type to play. Come on, you don't need to learn the rules. You can just type and the game already know how to play. You just need your brain and a tactic, because I want to win, I want to defend, and that's changing the script, because we're reducing the entry barrier even more. That's a big thing for players.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Alina. Maybe Clement or Vikram, any questions or thoughts for Nick?
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I'm curious in the token design because, investing into a lot of games ourselves, a lot of times token economies and the in-game economies difficult to manage. So just wondering, what's your take on that?
Yeah, we have a token. It's live for a year. We provide a lot of rewards for the people. It's over, I think, 6 million during the last 12 months in dollar equivalent. And we have the best mechanism so far that we have. It's programmable token. So basically, we reducing the selling pressure because the token have some terms and condition when it can be exchanged, and we providing people half in a programmable token and half in a liquid token. So we sustain the massive dumps. And in terms of in-game economy, it's a live game. We need to update every time, and we just don't need not to piss off the players. And this is the hardest part of what we have, because we have audience. It's loyal. The audience love us, and we just need to love them back, which means we don't do stupid things, and they are part of the process, and we trying to be aligned with them, and it's very important. And this is why we take it so far. We here because of them. They love us, they trust us, and that's the best thing that we have. This is why it works. So we can roll out any stupid things, and we have some credibility from them, but we can do this all the time. So yeah, we just need to be careful, and we just need to calculate the risk and the balance, and don't do stupid things, which sounds easy, but it's really hard.
Well said, Nick. Alrighty, man. Thanks for presenting. Next up, and thanks guys for the questions. Nolan from Matrix. Nolan, you're up.
Oh, there we go. Okay, hey everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Nolan from Matrix. Let's get right into it. I know time is short in these things. Okay, so the problem this crypto cycle, ever since Pump Fund came out, everyone can launch a token. Hard to create value. You see companies do billion-dollar airdrops. Everyone leaves right after. There's a lot of examples this cycle. Okay, Our team, we have a pretty big team of industry veterans, whether it's from traditional finance, crypto, Ethereum Foundation board member. Dan Din, the founder of TSM, the largest valued esport company in the world, is our first investor. Essentially, we built this Matrix platform, 3 parts: user platform, AI hosting tool for any crypto project, and the value layer, obviously MTX token. How it works: projects come subscribe to our Matrix AI terminal, which has some auto launch campaigns, built-in bot resistance, retain and grow holders for their token community, and optimize incentive allocations. Okay, once they set up the project portal, they get a portal like this. They can schedule events in their own calendar, use AI to look at analysis of what's going on in the platform, and they can optimize their user engagement for their own community and host events. Okay, different things we've done. We've worked with a wide variety of clients, one of them being Movement Network. We helped them get 1 million event viewers, 10K new users onto their chain. They said we helped them, even better ratio than their $1 billion airdrop, which was cool. We helped a project launch from 0 to 2 million FDV. We've done big events with, large scale sponsored prize pools with the like of Movement and Solana communities, onboarding Solana token holders into the Movement chain. We've done wide scale professionally created events with, pro gamers. We're launching right now a 500K gold backed RWA reward pool, helping a sponsor attract new token holders to hold their RWA. We're onboarding clients into this campaign where they can distribute gold to their communities. And we have different event formats on the platform, whether it's tournaments, predictions, different things like this. Don't consider this a traditional prediction market. It's purely event engagement based. And the model is
Amazing. Thank you, Nolan. Sorry, the 2 minutes cut off there, but great job on presenting. Maybe let's start with Abdul. Any questions or thoughts for Nolan?
Yeah, Nolan, I am curious when it comes to matching intent, either from a company like Movement or other companies that you might work with, when you consider services as outcomes, especially as AI agents deliver on outcomes versus pure software output, when you're considering monetization at this stage, how are you thinking about driving towards performance-based outcomes and potentially performance-based monetization from some of the strategies that you might execute on behalf of the partners that you work with?
Yeah, so to clarify, a lot of the way that we will do this is we work with projects. Obviously, projects have a lot of their own communities, and we are not, say, responsible. If your community sucks and they don't want to do anything, hey, no matter how much money you pay me, I can't help you. Essentially, our platform is more engaging and keeping these people holding these tokens. For example, one of the Pump Fund Solana coins we worked with, these guys were able to hold an audience over 9 months. So this is why I think it's somewhat participation and outcome based, but then again, there's no way that we can guarantee that if I could drive $1 million worth of bias to every coin, I don't need to do this, right? Essentially. So I think it's a nice mix of these things. For example, it's easy for us to find clients because people with tokens need tools to activate their community and keep people holding, but it's hard to call it over promise on certain things. Like I cannot bring $1 million for the buyers, but what can happen is if the community can pick up events that are optimized on our platform for the goals of the project. For example, hey, we want to get more engagement among our US user base. This AI will help them design the best formats, whether it's, hey, you should do this prediction format using your token as the entry fee. So essentially this core model here, the loop, is the projects can sponsor some token as airdrop, plus users will pay entry fee in the tokens to participate in these events, okay? Upon the verified participation in the platform, then users can get the reward that is set by the project. So the AI kind of helps optimize and automate that loop for them, but it still comes down to what the projects want to see as their goals and what are their bench lines, and we can help them with these aspects, and we've done it quite successfully in the past. So I'm not sure if that exactly answers your question.
No, it does. And it does seem like the KPIs or the performance-based alignment is primarily on the token side of things. Is it not as customizable per project that you might expect? So, for example, KPIs on dApps, maybe number of users that they want within certain dApps within the ecosystem.
Correct. So for example, with Movement, our main KPI was driving on-chain wallet setup and transactions on their native Movement chain because they have the Move token on Ethereum, which they launched. They didn't have a lot of people using the native Movement, and we helped them onboard these 10K users, some of them from Solana, some of them from some of the other communities that we've done. So this was part of our KPI for that. And yeah, we hit it. So it's a little bit customizable on a per client basis, but we have a bench line format that projects can come and sign up and use this themselves, where we'll be less hands-on. Obviously, in the case of Movement, these guys have given us a lot of money in grants, sponsorships, things like this. So we do more to help them with those things. But yeah.
Got it. I appreciate it, Nolan. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Abdul. Maybe Vikram or Max, any questions for Nolan?
Yeah, I'll go next. So, Nolan, the AI part to me feels more like a wrapper than a core. I mean, correct if I'm wrong. But when I look at it, so what would stop competitors, or where do you have leverage compared to competitors, given that competitors can always build a similar product or a feature into their existing, stacks. So, where does your product stand out, and what are you doing differently?
So I'd say, yeah, the AI part is not really just a wrapper, just to clarify. So essentially, projects come on this platform and they can set up whatever tools they want for hosting these live events that are gated entry by their community. Okay. So what the AI aspect is of this, instead of going through there and, populating detailed airdrop formats and how do I, what should the best timeline be? What should the participation metrics be? This AI will scan all the real-time data for what other popular projects are doing on our platform, and it will optimize and recommend those to the projects they're hosting. So I say in terms of competitors, probably some competitors would be like the traditional engagement platforms like Galaxy, Zeely, things like this. But I find these platforms reward a lot more low quality participation that is easy to bot. So I think one of our unique competitive advantages is a lot of these activities that we're supporting in engagement formats are hard to bot.
Awesome. Right on time at the end of that. So thank you,
Okay.
Nolan.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Vikram. And next we'll go to Noel from Gainer. Noel, you're up.
Hi, I'm Noel, co-founder of Gainer. We are the world's first sports betting trading syndicate as a service. Think AngelList meets eToro. A sports syndicate, for those who don't know, is a closed private group of quants and professional bettors who trade sports market like a hedge fund. You can't get in unless you know someone. They generate billions in profit. Did you know that last year a UK syndicate had to open its kimono in a legal case, 800 million in profits per year, totally invisible and closed? Last year, we built a small sports syndicate that generated 229% ROI, 1.9 sharp, proofed. We had to reject all retail because no infrastructure to onboard them safely and at scale. The problem is that these deals are private. Liquidity is constrained. Analysts don't want their picks to be visible, and track records can't be verified. The alpha is real. The rails to productize it don't exist. Gainer is the intelligence layer that sits on top of 64 billion in uninformed prediction market liquidity, using ZK copy betting, deep counterparty liquidity from the prediction markets, and on-chain proving to create a flywheel that gives everyone access to our platform and can generate returns like the private syndicates. We don't compete with prediction markets. Our go-to-market is simple. We already own the audience with our 400K warm sports investor community that we have built over the years. Our business model has 4 capture points on how we generate revenue that align users and platform. The token use is mandatory. It's not just bells. Our traction is a live demo, 100 analysts waitlisted, and a 400K community with near zero CAC and partnership with the University of Glasgow. Our team has 60 years combined in sports trading as well as Web3 and has raised 100 million combined. Syndicates. They've been printing 800 million a year for decades. The alpha was always there. The building blocks of the rails to productize it were missing.
Awesome. And that is time. Thank you, Noel. Yeah, we'll go to questions. Maybe we'll start with Max or Peng.
Sure. I love this space, first and foremost. Can you tell me a little bit more about how the token works in this flow? Because I've seen a couple of products like this that don't have a token at the core of the business, and it's strictly a fiat business, but would love to learn how the token actually interacts in this model.
No, Noel, you're on mute. You just have to unmute. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, thank you for that question. The token actually has three uses, but the most important use, and I'm just going to move to the slide, is the what we call proof of alpha that you can see here on this slide. Basically, for sports trading, the further in front you are in the queue, the better your ROI on your betting. But it has to be managed, otherwise there's not enough liquidity. So our proof of alpha, people can stake the Gainar token to actually get in front of the queue and have a better liquidity. So that is one of the main uses of the token. It's very unique. It's never been done before, even in terms of sports trading. The other two benefits of the token is that you generate from profit sharing, and also we create some different tiers of when you stake the token with us, including like when you exit the platform, you can have between 0 and 4% tax on your exit if you want, depending on which tier you are in. And by the way, one thing I mentioned in the slide as well is that the token is mandatory. In order to follow a strategy, you have to stake at least one Gainar. So you cannot use a platform without the Gainar token.
What's really unique about it is also you're not sharing any of the strategies. So I follow a few sports betting influencers. They're called handicappers here in the US. And basically they'll give me the picks and I have to go log them manually on a sports betting platform. You guys are basically allowing it to kind of operate like a hedge fund, right? Where I would just give you the money and then your traders, aka your cappers, are the ones that are logging the picks.
That's exactly right. I mean, I could bring on Jamie because we have 60 years of combined sports experience, but I'm not part of the 60 years. Jamie, you want to explain how that works?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, so it's exactly as you say. As soon as you come out with your sports picks, especially when you're running on models, you can try and backwards engineer some of the models. So all of the real pros don't want anybody knowing how their models work. So it's like all of those tipsters. Also with the tipster, as soon as get your tips out there, you've sold it, it's gone, the price is gone. That's why to get serious syndicates involved in this, then we needed to have it obfuscated. And obviously they manage it. It's invest and forget. You keep coming back to see how your fund's going, but
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything yourself. Yeah. You've got the
Well,
pros doing it.
but I won't know. The fun part for me is that I'm betting with the tipster or with the handicapper, and then I'm watching that game on TV, and I know exactly what outcome I'm looking for. I don't have that here, right?
Yeah. You don't you What we would do, we want to present this is your best outcome, this is your worst outcome, so you can have a feel for what you're wanting, when you're coming out. But a lot of these plays, it's like in the syndicates I'm in, we place hundreds of thousands of micro bets. And so there's not because you're looking for that small margin every day. That's why it compounds to such big ROIs over the year, because it's small margins every day. So it's much more about coming in, seeing how your NBA totals pot is going, seeing how
You could even
your
search
NFL.
like one game per day. You could almost have like an idea where you could give one game per day. And so I search, I say, hey, I want to go watch the Golden State Warriors, and it tells me what the outcome I need to bet on is per my position in Gainer. So you
That's
could
a
like choose one, right? Because it's a basket.
Exactly. So you do, we'll be able to give you a reduced version of that, but without giving away the IP. That's the point. The real
Very
thing
nice.
is that if you're betting on sports books, the operators make the profit. If you're betting on a prediction market exchange or a PMU, it's the pros that are making the profits, minus the platform fees. But most people lose when they're sports betting, so it's just where that money goes, and that's why we're trying to make sure that you have a piece of that.
Great. Thank you.
Vikram, very, very quickly.
Yeah, very good question. So, copy ratings are very interesting, and the problem that I have been observing is such platforms is always the alpha decay problem. So, how do you guys address that problem?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. What problem?
Yeah, alpha decay. So basically, whenever someone starts copy trading, eventually that copy trading alpha factor loses its steam. So, how do you address that?
Yeah, so basically when you're first in, then the best prices go to the people that are first in. That's why we built out the proof of alpha token use. So that if you're playing at a much smaller level, the difference in price on high liquidity won't make a big difference. If you're a $100 investor, $50 investor, it makes, a few cents difference. If you're a much bigger investor, it's much more important, which is why when you have big trading hedge funds, that they want to be closest to the latency is very important. You can buy your way to the front of the latency. If you're a bigger investor, you would do that because it makes financial sense for you to do that. If you're a smaller investor, you don't need to. We still would never match you at anything less than the recommended profitable price, though.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Good job, Noel and Jamie. Yeah, the sports betting space is obviously very fascinating right now. And then we'll move over to the stablecoin space. So we have a very good mix here. And next up, we have Lucas from ThickWave to cap off the demo day. Lucas, please share your screen. Yep, perfect. Can see it.
All right. Yeah, hi, I'm Lucas, and we are building ThickWave, which is a stablecoin infrastructure for MENA region. So currently, if you run a business in Gulf, you will probably heard a lot about stablecoins, about faster and cheaper payments, and you actually want to start using them. But to do that, you have to go through technical and regulatory nightmare. There is custody, KYB, there is sanction screening, multiple chains, FX, licensing, there is banking rails, which means that you have to stitch together multiple vendors and chase for all the regulatory approvals. And Western players or don't operate in this market, or they work only with USD coins, which you as a business from Gulf for some use cases cannot even legally use here. And ThickWave is an API for compliant stablecoin settlement. We give you a single API to settle in both fiat and in stablecoins across multiple chains, multiple coins, instantly and compliantly. And I know the space quite well because I spent the last 2 years inside First Abu Dhabi Bank, where I was working on dirham-pegged stablecoins. And we also spoke with multiple businesses in the region who heard about stablecoins. They actually are very interested in implementing them, but they are very confused and have no idea how to do that. We are currently wrapping up our MVP, onboarding first design partners, and I also sit as deputy chair on Middle East Stablecoin Association, which means that we are quite literally educating GCC corporates on how to implement the solution like the one that we are building. We are also pursuing the central bank PTSR license in UAE. Right now, we are the only company that is non-issuer and pursuing that license, which means that next 12 months are kind of crucial for us to become the default infra in the region.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. Let's go to any questions from maybe Abdul or Alina to start.
I just wanted, thanks a lot, Luca, for detailed explanation. I also saw you in Simplicity Group, so nice to reconnect, kind of. I wanted to listen more about like security aspects of the infrastructure because we see a lot of different hacks and attacks, obviously in DeFi mostly, but I think stablecoin infra and bridges also under radar for hackers and other bad people. So how do you guys secure the infra? What's your plan here?
Yeah, well, the benefit of having a CTO that was actually a head of engineering and banking is that we built the infrastructure as a kind of enterprise grades from the very beginning. So we are using the kind of market standards. We use 4 months as a ledger. We use Kong as a API gateway. And obviously, things like SOC 2 and ICO are very crucial for us. This is actually why we want to raise, so that we start operating with live transactions only when we are fully secure.
Awesome. Thanks, Alina. And maybe Clement or Peng, any questions for Lucas?
Yes. So we also invested into a couple of this kind of business. Just wondering, can you share more on the business model? And yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, sure. Well, we plan to tokenize volume in a similar way as our Western competition like Bridge or BNK is doing. So we are charging between 10 to 50 basis points on every transaction, depending on the complexity, on the corridor, etc.
And also, I'm wondering, are you talking about like using Mina's fiat stable coins, or this is still using like US stable coins?
Yes, well, in UAE, there are already 4 stablecoins pegged to dirham. There is also one coming soon in Saudi Arabia. I know that Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain are also going this way. But there is currently no infrastructure to work with those local stablecoins.
Yeah, I ask because I'm personally not too familiar with how big the market is using their own stable coins. Can you just go in a little bit details on kind of the market background for this as well?
Well, the full money flows between businesses in the Gulf intra-GCC, that would be around 2 trillions per year. And around $130 billion are currently paid by businesses for using, for example, SWIFT and correspondent banking, etc. So this is pretty much the market that we are targeting.
Yeah. So you're saying that within the region, the settlement is still largely using non-US fiats. Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And also a big part of the businesses cannot really legally use USD-pegged stablecoins for pretty much all of the domestic use cases. So you can obviously use, I don't know, BVNK if you are dealing with US, but to do that internally within the Gulf region, you need local stablecoins.
I see. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Clement. Maybe Vikram or Max, any thoughts?
Yeah. You want to, Vikram, go ahead. I'll go after.
Okay, thank you, Max. So Lucas, usually, the API businesses are, very slow GTM businesses. Plus, what has been our observation with such businesses was it's a very high trust or high barrier trust business when it comes to, doing the business development. So can you tell us more about, how you guys are doing business development, building those relationships, and what are the key value propositions that you put out to your potential customers?
Yeah, sure. Well, I totally agree. The business development is very relationship driven, especially here in the market. So as a first group of customers that we are currently onboarding, we are not targeting the TradFi just yet, because it's a little bit easier to work with, for example, DeFi platforms or tokenization platforms. So those are the platforms that we are currently onboarding as design partners. But as soon as we kick off the licensing process with central bank, we plan to expand that to what you could call a TradFi stablecoin seekers. And well, my position within the Middle East Stablecoin Association is a really nice channel to get access to those corporates, and also the networks that we've built.
Awesome. Thank you, Vikram. And then very, very quickly, Max.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have alluded to this. This is an area we invest heavily into. We have about 120 FIs as corporate partners. And so, every region, they're all asking about stablecoin implementations. I haven't done too much in the UAE or the Gulf. So I'm curious about like value-add services because like in markets that stablecoins have, I guess, been around for a bit longer in terms of shelf life, we're now starting to see that fee compression take place. And so like you're no longer able to compete solely on orchestration, right? And so what are those value-added services that you're building in that are region specific to the Gulf UAE that you really feel like it can set you ahead of, another group that might want to come in and basically be free. And it's only an API play that they're just trying to get more interconnectivity for.
Yeah, sure. Well, I already had the same observation. The prices are going down on Western markets, and probably the same is gonna happen here as well. I don't have a clear answer yet. I'm just gonna hypothesize a little bit. But for example, we spoke with a bunch of platforms tokenizing real estates, and nice use cases for them specifically could be a help with distributing yield from rent of the tokenized platforms, which is actually the use case that most of the Western platforms are not looking at right now. And there are also a bunch of ideas that we could potentially work with import and export companies related to, I don't know, like a letter of credits and etc. But this is very far ahead of our roadmap.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. Great questions, guys. Well, that wraps up TBV Demo Day 13. Really appreciate all of you guys coming on board, even if it's very early for some of you, especially in Western Europe. Again, TBV, we're an early stage fund. We invest 200K to 1 million in seed stage projects and hope to see a lot of you at Consensus Miami. So thanks everyone for your time. The next Demo Day will be around May 20th, online as well. So hope to see you guys at the next one. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.